You can derive out of how 12 new questions. How does it come? That's possible through associating how with certain adjectives. Let's discover what are these adjectives and what are these new questions. You can associate how with many to get how many. Many in English means lot of or a large number of. If I say many books, I mean a large number of books. If you ask, starting your question with how many, you mean what's the number of. How many brothers do you have means what's the number of your brothers. How many tables are there in your classroom means what's the number of tables in your classroom. How many countries are there in Africa means what's the number of countries that we find in Africa. How many books have you read this year means what's the number of the books you have read this year. If you have a sharp eye, you note easily that how many is always followed by plural noun. How many alone at the beginning of a question is incomplete till you add just after how many the plural noun that denotes the number of things that you would like to know. Second, you can associate how with much. In English, much means also a lot. But unlike many, much is used to indicate a quantity or an amount, not a number. If you ask your question starting with how much, it means you are asking what's the amount of or what's the quantity of. How much water do you drink daily means what's the quantity of water that you drink daily. How much sugar do you put in your coffee means what's the quantity of sugar that you put in your coffee. Water and sugar are measurable. You either find their volume or you weigh them. Let's use your sharp eye again, and you will know that how much is followed by a noun, but this time in the singular form. This noun denotes the element you would like to know its volume or weight. How much food, how much rain, how much water, how much snow, and so on. You know that food, water, rain, snow are singular nouns. They are measurable only through finding their volume or their weight. If you ask the following questions, how much love do humans need to live normally? Or how much courage did he have? Are they wrong questions? I guess no. Love and courage are abstract nouns. Therefore, they have a quantity or an amount, and it's quite right to use how much to ask about that quantity. How much love do humans need means what's the amount or the dose of love they need to live normally. How much courage did he have means what was the amount of courage he had. You can associate how with old. In English, old means a person or an animal or an object that lived or existed for a long time. So if you ask how old, you mean what's the age of. If you ask how old are the pyramids of Giza, you mean what's the age of these pyramids, or for how many years they lived or existed. How old is this tree? Means what's the age of this tree, or for how many years this tree lived or existed. The same for this lady and her granddaughter. How old is the grandma? Means what's her age, or for how many years she lived or existed. How old is her granddaughter? Means what's the age of her daughter or granddaughter, or for how many years she lived or existed on earth. You can associate how with often. Often in English means many times at short intervals. If you ask how often, you mean how many times do you repeat or do a certain action at a given period of time. How often do you go to the swimming pool? It means how many times, or what's the number of times you go to the swimming pool. How often do you brush your teeth? Means how many times you brush your teeth. Let's think about possible answers to these two questions. You think about I never go to the swimming pool. I rarely go there. I generally go there when I feel bored. I go there every day. I brush my teeth twice a day or 3 times a day. The answer to a question that starts with how often includes most of the time an adverb of frequency or an adverb of time. You can associate how with long. Long in English means having a great duration of time or a great spatial extension. How long means either what's the length or what's the duration. How long is the board? Means what's the length of the board. For how long have you been teaching English? Means what's the duration of time in which you taught English or during which you taught English. How long does it take you to write an essay? Means what's the duration of time you need to write an essay. How long is the road? Means what's the length of the road. You can associate how with far. Far in English means distant. How far means what's the distance. how far is your school from your home means what's the distance between your home and your school. How far are the stars from Earth means what's the distance between the stars and Earth. You can associate how with tall to get how tall. Tall here refers to the vertical height of a person or of a human being. If you say how tall, you mean what's the vertical height of. How tall is a giant means what's the vertical height of a giant. How tall was Napoleon means what was the vertical height of Napoleon. This leads us to how to ask about the vertical height of things and objects around us. How could be associated with how to get how high. How high are the walls of this temple means what's the vertical height of these walls. How high is the bridge means what's the vertical height of the bridge. How high is the Great Pyramid means what's the vertical height of the Great Pyramid. You can associate how with cold and hot to get how cold or how hot, and it's used to ask about the degree of temperature. If you ask how cold is Alaska, it means what's the degree of cold in Alaska. How hot is the sun surface means what's the degree of heat on the sun surface. You can associate how with fast or speedy to get how fast or how speedy, and it means what's the speed of. How fast is your car means what's the speed of your car. You can associate how with deep, and it means what's the depth. How deep is the ocean means what's the depth of the ocean. You can associate how with wide or large to get how wide or how large, which means what's the width. How wide or how large is this class means what's the width of this class. In this way, we have gone through all the WH question words. I really hope that you got an idea about them.